and you are watching. Try to understand. As we are in Python full stack journey, in which this playlist will be focusing on backend development with Python. Full stack development. So when we use the term full stack, you can call it complete development. So what is the objective of this? Complete application development, along with web development skills, in which today we start with learning Python programming language from scratch. After completing this series, you will be becoming a professional backend developer or full stack developer. Or even if you're interested in artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science like fields, then also after learning only Python language from this series, you can pursue in your interested field, or if you want to go to the web development domain, then keep following this series as we will be exploring it. In this series, we will be studying in such a manner where we not even know what is coding, or even if not able to write a single line of code today. After completing this series, I promise that you will be developing beautiful custom websites and we will be writing good programs. Plus, we will be learning a lot of concepts which we will simultaneously applying practically. Now, whenever we talk about Python, in the past few years, Python has been the most loved language in the tech industry because of its easy to understand and simplicity. Many of the programmers has created their base in Python, and later they had shifted to other technologies as per their requirements. Python is also one of the easiest language to start coding with. And that is why we will also be going to start our coding journey with Python. To start this Python series, there are no prerequisites as such. That means, before today, you have not written any code in any other coding language. It's absolutely fine. We will start with the entry level and slowly, gradually, we will be level up our programming. We will be studying the theory concepts in the series, but with that, we will be writing a lot of code to practice things, to take a hands-on practical experience, and with that, we will solve every important topic related to practice questions. Now, complete application development along with web development. The first question you need to ask is, where should I do my development? You have to use an interpreter. What is an interpreter? An interpreter is software where you can write your code and run your code. So you need to do two things. First, write your code. Can I write Python code in Notepad? Yes, you can write Python code in Notepad, but it doesn't make much sense if you want to do some serious coding. You need a specific tool for writing the code, and that specific tool should understand your Python code. See here, it is not understanding anything. We are able to just type text. But if you use an interpreter for Python, it will identify the structure of the Python code. It will identify the important words and parts of the code. It will highlight them with appropriate color. So, it does a lot of things. Not just in Python, but any language has its own tools where you can write your code and run your code. So we are going to see three such tools. The first one is for learning. We have idle. It is an interpreter, a tool where you can write your code and run your code. It is from Python's official website, python.org. It is used for learning Python. There is also another tool called Jupyter. It is called Jupyter Notebook. This is also for learning. And for that, you have to download Anaconda. But if you want to do development, that means where you develop your application in the organization. You have two interpreters for that. One is VS Code, Visual Studio Code. This is for development. I'm going to show you how to do application development in this tool. But we'll start with idle first. We'll learn this simple basic tool. For a beginner, idle will give a kickstart. You are a beginner to Python, or you are a beginner to coding. Idle will give a kickstart to your coding journey. And by the way, you can ask me questions in Telugu, Hindi, and English. Basically, I'm from India, and generally here people speak multiple languages. And there is a tool specifically designed for Python development, which is called PyCharm. So these two are used for development. But I personally prefer Visual Studio Code because in PyCharm, you can only do Python development. But in Visual Studio Code, you can do Python development, HTML development, and CSS development. You can also use other languages. And because it is a Microsoft tool, you can also connect to Microsoft Cloud like Azure. You can directly deploy the applications on the cloud interface. You can do all such things using Visual Studio Code. So we prefer Visual Studio Code. And PyCharm, yes, it's a good tool, a wonderful tool for data scientists, data analysts, and also for full stack development. No doubt about it. First, we will finish basics in idle. Later, we will jump to VS Code. So you may be wondering what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about the software tools, interpreters, the software tools where you can start writing your code, and which will also help you to execute your code. Writing just code is not enough. You should also be able to execute it. So that's what we are going to do with these tools. We'll just go to the internet to download it from python.org. So I'll just go to the browser here. I'll go to python.org. It is the official website for Python. Go to downloads and download the latest version. If you are using Windows, it will show download for Windows. If you are using Mac, it will show download for macOS. I already downloaded and installed it on my system. Don't worry about which latest version you may use. It will match with these lectures. Download Visual Studio Code. After downloading and installing it, go to Extensions and type for Python. Install this extension. I have already done it. But now, for our learning purpose, we'll start with Python idle, which is downloaded from python.org. And we are going to install it now. So you see there are two options, install now or customize installation. But below that, we have two checkboxes. Check these two boxes, especially the second one, which is add python.x to path. If you don't check these two checkboxes, you'll run into problems. You cannot run your Python code from every drive and directory on your computer. So make sure to check it. The problem will be that you have to go to a specific folder where your Python is installed. Only there you can write the code. So you don't want that to happen. So check these two checkboxes. If you see them, they are unchecked. Now choose install now or customize. If it is install now, make sure there is PIP. Here you can see PIP. If you don't see PIP in the install now option, then go to customize and select PIP and click next. But since we see PIP, we'll go with install. PIP is very important. If you don't have PIP, you cannot upgrade your Python. You cannot add additional modules, additional libraries or frameworks. Basically, in IDLE, we write code for testing purpose. So that's why we mostly write single line code and execute it here. In the shell, we write single line code, or you can say one constructor, because we construct our code here line by line and test it. So, mostly you will be writing single lines of code only. If you see here on the left-hand side, you can see 3 greater than symbols, which indicate prompts from where you can start writing the code. After you are done writing your code, click on Enter or Return key on your keyboard to execute your code. Is it so simple? Now, we are going to talk about the operators. We have symbols whose work is to perform some operations. In math, we have seen addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication. So these are called operators in programming, which we have already seen many times in math. These work the same way as in math. Give a number, then an operator, and then a second number, and hit Enter or Return key. Your result will be displayed. You can try and perform all operators on your own and see the result. Apart from these operators, there are 3 more operators in Python, which are modulus, exponentiation, and floor division. Modulus is used for getting the remainder, whose symbol is a percentage sign. For example, if we do 5 modulus 2, then the output will be 1, which is the remainder we get if we try to divide 5 by 2. Exponentiation is a power operator in Python, whose symbol is double asterisk sign. And the last is floor division, whose symbol is double forward / sign. The floor division rounds the result down to the nearest whole number. It may be confusing for you as a beginner. It's total okay, no need to worry. Let's understand the difference with this image. When we write 5 modulus 2, it performs like this, and remainder will be displayed. But when we perform division operator, we get quotient as output. And finally, when we do floor division operator, only before decimal numbers comes in output, and after decimal numbers will be ignored. With this, you got an idea how all these 3 are different and how they work. Practice the arithmetic operators by your own. It's not compulsory. You have to open always, ideally, only to do this task. You can perform the same in command prompt also. For that, just open command prompt as administrator and type Python and hit enter or return key and good to go. Remember, it will only work if Python is installed in your system, and after done with practice, enter exit or close the terminal. That's all from my side. This is MVK. Meet you in my next video.